So, I more or less defended Lily Allen, or I felt for her during her separation from David Arbor, because it was sad, and how it was being handled, it just seemed like a lot, right? But then this bitch opens her mouth, and you're like, well, you know what? You just you're like the Homer Simpson meme. You just slowly walk into the bushes, and you're like, baby, I can't help you. So let me preface this by saying, what people do with their bodies is their business. Okay. Well, everybody judges, and you know what, sometimes you have a right to judge, I'm gonna be honest with you, but what people do with their bodies is their business. I'm pro-choice in the sense of what other people do, like I said, is their business, right? I don't know what I personally would choose. I've never been in that situation, but there's no guarantee of a quality of life, and then to have a parent who resents you or hates you, that's no way to bring a child into the world. So I think sometimes not having the kid is better, because adoptions for some people works, and for other kids they're shuffled in and out of the foster care system, and that comes with so many things can go wrong. Case managers are overworked. The really horrendous situations, they don't always have enough attention. Kids fall through the cracks. A lot of kids end up homeless. Foster parents who get money for their kids, I don't understand why. It's one thing if you are actually using the money to provide for the child, right? Cost of living, all that stuff. But if you're just using their money and you're not setting them up with a fund or an account, so that way when they become 18, you could be like, hey, listen, this is for you. Whether you want to go to, I don't think it'd be enough to go to a college, but maybe it'd help them, or a community college, or a trade school, or just something to get them started. That was money for them, So there's a lot of crap with all the situations for a child who is not wanted by their parents, right? So sometimes I'm like, I don't know, maybe not being born is the better option. But I don't judge women who have been in a situation once where they made a decision. I don't think that I should judge you. That's your business. You made what was right for you. And most of those women, they're like, I thought about it, and it was a tough decision. You know what I'm saying? Like most people, right? You're in that position. You would have all these feelings, and you would try to do your best. The part that I think loses most people, and sure as hell doesn't help any movement or whatever, where it's people should have the choice, is the women who say yeah, I had 6 or 7 or 8 of them, and it's no, there's condoms. What are we doing here? Do you know how many places give condoms for free? There's libraries, there's nursing stations in cities. Do you know how many places give condoms for free? And if you have the ability to buy yourself makeup and to do all this, that, the third, you have the ability to buy condoms. Okay? So Lily Allen, on her podcast, and she's talking to this other lady. I think her name is Makita. I don't know who she is. But Lily Allen was like, oh yeah, before I got an IUD, yeah, I just get pregnant all the time. It was bad, I get pregnant all the time. And once I had the IUD, then I was set. But yeah. She's like, I don't even remember. I don't even remember how many I had. And it's like, what? That's not good. And then the other lady was like, I used to feel embarrassed because I didn't have just one. Because the other lady said, yeah, she's had about 4 or 5 too. And they're like, but there's no judgment, this, that, the third. Yes, there is. Why are you letting a guy jizz inside you willy-nilly? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? That it's still a medical procedure that you have to go through. Like, even if you're morally and ethically okay with it, it's still a medical procedure that you have to put your body through. Why are you not taking the time and the self-care and the self-love to make sure that you don't have to put your body through this? Now, I am viewing it from their perspective, where they're like, okay, I'm cool, I don't have to dissect the morality or the ethics. It's still your body. Your body's on the line. Why are you doing this? Why are you putting your body on the line, where you're like, you have those hormonal changes that are starting to happen, and then now you have to go through this medical procedure, and now you have to go through a healing process, and you're doing that 4 to 5 times? No, you didn't have self-love for yourself. You made a lot of mistakes. No, that's not okay. Condoms are cheap. They're really, really cheap. I don't know what you're talking about. You could go to 7-Eleven. You could hop into a gas station, buy right. You could go into a bodega. There's you can, in the state of New Jersey, you can order Narcan. And Narcan helps people who have had, they're having an overdose from opioids. You can order either the injection or the nasal spray, and they'll give it to you completely free. It's called a reduction harm kit. I have them because I work in the mental health field, and I feel like it's a responsibility and a duty that I have, especially because addiction just happens so often in the mental health community, right? In that kit, they give you condoms to give to people. So, like, they are literally giving these things away. I know the UK has had campaigns, because I know Lily Allen was in the UK. They've had campaigns too where they've given free condoms. So you weren't just getting pregnant. You were also opening yourself up to STDs. No, there is a judgment there, and it is sad. It's sad because you didn't love yourself. The other girl, Makita, she was like, I had sex with a guy and I absolutely hated him, and I got pregnant, and there's no way I wanted to have his kid. Why'd you have sex with him? Why are you having sex with someone that you hate? Why are you having sex with someone that you hate and you're not taking all the precautions? One night stands happen. That's okay. It's okay to, and people have had sex with people that they didn't like, or they didn't really care about. That also happens in human nature. But why aren't you taking the precautions to take care of yourself? Isn't that self-love? This is the thing, is self-love, it actually comes from, I feel like she was a politician, but I'm pretty sure it was a black lady, and she got cancer. And the self-love was like the self-love to like go to a doctor, to get diagnosed, to put yourself first, to take care of yourself, to get like these preventive screenings. That's where it came from. But in our capitalist society, it turned into self-care is you buying a $30 smoothie from Erewhon in fucking LA. All right, that, I'm not gonna lie, I fucking love smoothies, and I don't live in LA, but I'd be tempted just because I love smoothies. I'd be like, why do I have to take out a small business loan to afford your fucking smoothie? What's in here? I don't know. But okay, sidebar. But that, taking care of yourself medically, that's a part of self-care. That's a part of self-love. That's a part of maturity. I'm very behind on that. That's something I gotta go do, because it's such a chore. It's such a chore to have to find the doctors that accepts your insurance, and then you gotta call them, because you gotta make sure, because just because it says it on the website doesn't mean that's the reality. Then you gotta call them, then you gotta see when they have an availability, then you gotta get there early, and then sometimes you have a long wait, and then you go to do this simple little procedure, and then but it's not just that. Maybe you need a specialist. Now you got to get a referral. Now you got to go do all this. Now you got to get your blood drawn. Now you got to wait for the results and panic. It's a lot, and I have to go do that, and I will do that. But it's a sign that you are mature. It is a sign that you are taking care of yourself. It is a sign to love yourself. And, you know, especially if other people love you, you don't want to be a burden to them medically. How do we take care of the other people we love? Well, we take care of ourselves. We put the mask on first for ourselves. Why the fuck would you choose to just have abortions willy-nilly? It's sad. It's sad. It's not cute. There should be shame and there should be judgment. It is different. It is very, very different if it is a very, very young girl who's from a culture that there is just no education, there's a lack of literacy, there's a lack of people around her who can guide her. You know, in other countries, they'd be like, no, I understand, there's lack of tech, there's a lack of campaigns, there's a lack of public awareness, and that I think I would be more understanding, I guess. But then still, at a certain point, it's like, okay, well, I don't know, maybe the second, I don't know, we're still, I'm trying to make this argument, and as I'm talking, I'm like, oh, 4 or 5 though. You know, you figure by the second or third one, you'd fucking figure it out. I don't know, 4 or 5 is too much. That's too many. That's too much. Like, just, you tell them to pull out. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You could have gotten, even at that time, because Lily Allen, she's a little bit older than me. Okay, they didn't have the apps to, like, keep track of Aunt Flo, but that's always kind of been known. You could keep track of that. If you picked up a book or something, you could figure out, like, when you're fertile, and you could just not have sex on those days. It's not 100%, but it's something. So you didn't do nothing. You didn't do nothing. You didn't try to do nothing. Like, no, there is judgment in that. There's a lack of accountability. There's a lack of personal responsibility. There's a lack of self-love. There's a lack of maturity. Yeah, no, that's something you should feel bad about, you know? And anybody else, like, if you're like, yeah, you know, I keep driving with under the influence, man. I keep getting but DUIs. I keep getting them. You know, I crashed into a house. I did this. You know, by the 4th or 5th one, you'd be sick of that person. You'd be like, what are you doing? All right. The first one, you're like, okay, well, you really need help. The second one, where it's like, okay, all right, well, 3rd, 4th, 5th, you're like, Jesus Christ, you're a weirdo. It's the same with anything. It's like, you know, it shows that you lack critical thinking skills, right? If I do something where I'm like, man, this sucked. Like, also, I think abortions, I think there's a recuperating time. Like, it's painful. You kind of cramp, because I think you got to get rid of the uterine line. Like, there's a whole thing. Like, why are you not looking out for yourself so you could avoid this shit? Shut up. It's too much. It's taking a liberal viewpoint and taking it way past the point that it should be okay. It's the same thing conservatives have done this too. It's taking a conservative point and taking it way past the point that it should be okay. It's weird. Lily Allen is a weirdo, and the lady she had on her show is a weirdo. They're weird. Like I said, I have no problem with people. It's personal choice, man. It's personal choice. It's like, you know, I don't think, personally, I don't think that I could do it, but I've never been in that situation, just because, like, psychologically, I'm like, the guilt and all that stuff. But then if, like, you really don't have the money and you don't have a guy who's gonna help you, it's like, you know, it's just such a screwed up situation to be in. That's why it's better to avoid it. And, like, first one I get, second one maybe. Once you start going like this many, it's a problem. It's a problem, you know. But yeah, that's my thought on this very difficult topic. And also too, like, just people need to be more quiet. People need to be more quiet about their stuff. I come on here, you know, and, like, I'm trying to be silly and entertaining, and, like, sometimes, you know, you want to talk to people about serious things, but, like, a lot of personal stuff, leave that shit, you know. If you think it's gonna help people, right, you can disclose a little bit, but to put your whole business out there, come on, you're so boring. be a little private, be a little bit of an enigma, be a little bit of a mystery, you know? Because it's just, it's fatigue. It's fatigue from oversharing. It's fatigue from just being too much. Just, you know, get a diary, get a journal. You know, like Doug. Do 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 do. Right in your, right, you can go to the 99-cent store and you could get them, you could get like the old school composition notebooks for like 50 cents. Like, it's, the dollar store is no longer the dollar store, but like you can still find notebooks for really cheap. And just write your nonsense. Write your nonsense, because it's too much to share everything. But yeah, those were my thoughts on Lily Allen. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.